For nearly a year after Teofimo Lopez defeated Vasily Lomachenko, the lightweight division seemed to be the focal point of the boxing world due to the unique blend of youth and talent. However, let's dissect what actually occurred since last October. We're starting with Teofimo Lopez. 0 fights, multiple postponements versus George Kambosos Jr., though he probably had the most momentum, beating one of the top guys in the world. Gervonta Davis, KO of Leo Santa Cruz, TKO of Mario Barrios. Beautiful work so far, but none in the lightweight division. Devin Haney, unanimous decision victories against both Gamboa and Linares. Ryan Garcia, KO of Luke Campbell to kick off 2021. Vasily Lomachenko, beautiful KO of Nakatani. Let's not forget the emergence of Jojo Diaz following his decision against Javier Fortuna in July. And of course, it wouldn't be current day boxing without Twitter. Teofimo tweeted over the weekend, "If he's a tank, I'm a nuke." Blessed and grateful, by the way. And check out Devin Haney. Let me tell you something how I schedule a fight for November and I don't even have an opponent.
I don't understand that tweet though. It doesn't really make sense. Let me tell you something how I schedule a fight in November. But what he's trying to say is that how can he schedule a fight if he has no opponent? In other words, people don't want to fight him, according to him.
Right, he's like, how do I schedule a fight in November? I ain't even got an opponent. You know, listen, but the funniest thing he's ever said and his camp has said is these guys are fighting. They already fought for the opportunity to fight for my belt, and now they're fighting again. Like, who does that? Usually a fighter wants to fight for an interim belt, if there's interim belts in that division, in that sanctioning body, and then fight for the champion. They hate to fight, more eliminators, even though it happens in this sport. But now you have the opportunity to actually fight the guy and become champion. But we go back to what? Boxing is a business, and sometimes the business side outweighs the legacy side, and you say, who's the bigger fighter? And that's probably what Jojo Diaz is saying.
Well, I'm optimistic. I'm not a pessimistic guy, never been. Even when fights take a long time to marinate, sometimes I like that. Sometimes they take too long, but I always feel like they're going to eventually happen. Now, yeah, there's been some cases where fights, in history that haven't happened. Fights like Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe in their prime, two big heavyweights. A fight that probably would have been a massive fight, maybe a trilogy. But I think for the most part, fights happen, Barack. Most of the fights that's supposed to happen actually happen. So I would say that these fights will happen eventually. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not every single possible fight that we want to see in the lightweight division is going to happen, but I think most of them will. The fight that has the most potential to actually happen will probably be
Ryan Garcia and Jojo.
Yes, Ryan Garcia and Jojo Diaz, but that's not the mega one. But that's the one that has the most potential. So yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. But it's hard to bring Tank Davis into the picture because we don't know. Right. So if he was a little more elusive from his promotional company, then maybe, I could put him into this batch. But fighting him is the least likely, in my opinion. Not that it won't happen. Not that Devin won't fight him. Not that Teofimo won't fight him. Not that Ryan Garcia won't fight him. But it's just less likely. I think we have a better shot of Ryan Garcia fighting Teofimo Lopez, or even Devin Haney fighting Teofimo Lopez. I think there's a better shot than those guys fighting Tank Davis, than any of those guys fighting Gervonta Davis.
All right, so let's take Gervonta Davis out of this because, yes, he could fight at 140. He could fight at 130. There's rumors about him fighting at 147. May not be true, but whatever. Now, if you talk about the other guys, Ryan and Devin and Teofimo Lopez and Jojo, there's nowhere to go, actually. All right, fine, Ryan fights Jojo. It's not the biggest fight that everybody wanted to see, but it's a good fight. It's still a good fight. Now, where do you go? And after Teofimo fights is mandatory, where does he go from there? Unless he goes to 140, like he says. And then, that's one person we're losing from 135. But then, if Ryan beats Jojo, Jojo beats Ryan, you only got Devin left. And there's always his titles. There's going to be titles left. If Teofimo goes up and those other titles become vacant, guess what? The top guys got to fight for those titles if they want it, and nobody's going to be running from that. So eventually, 2022, we're going to be seeing these fights.
Barack, let me tell you the fight that I want to see the most. At least I'll give you two. It's hard to say one. I want to see Tank Davis fight Teofimo Lopez at 135. Now, if it so happens to be at 140, so be it, because Tank already proved that at 140, he's a real threat. He beat a big guy at 140, so if they meet at 140, fine. I just want to see those guys match up, and I also want to see Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. That's a fight that I want to see. Those are two fights that I really want to see in that division. Hopefully, we get to see one of them at least.
And it's funny because Gervonta Davis and Teofimo, they don't really go at it much. They don't really talk about fighting each other much.
But stylistically, it just would be an explosive.
That would be nice. Two explosive power punches. That would be nice. And yes, Devin Haney versus Ryan, great. You know, I'm gonna go back to always wanting to see an undisputed fight with Devin and Teofimo, so that nobody can complain about who's undisputed.